we can save lives. If you have this awareness, like what I'm telling you now, you can pass it on. My channel is not about making money. It's not about being popular. It's about, I just want people to be aware of things that we take for granted. Hello tribes, it's me, Donna Blaze, and I'm here for another chit chat. But today it's gonna be different, just a little bit different, because I parked here outside a very small lake. We're going there, and I see the geese from here. They're usually here at a certain time of the day. I think it's earlier, around 8. I think this is one of the most important chit chat that I'll ever going to upload here in YouTube this year 2023, because what's more important, guys, than good mental and emotional health? What are we? We have perfect physical health, but we have the negative thoughts and these negative feelings eating us up. This is just a meat suit. It's the superficial, it's the outside. So come on, I'll put on my sunnies. I'll feed the ducks with my corn I bought with me, because as I talk to you, I want to feed the ducks there somewhere. Let's go! The ducks are coming. I think they can smell the corn, guys. They're coming over here. Come on, geese. Anyhow, so I'll tell you about when my daughter was 4 years old. We started having a sleeping problem, guys. My daughter used to wake up 6 to 8 times almost every night, believe it or not, and it took a toll on my health. There's a doctor who said that the human body can only withstand 3 nights of not sleeping. After that, the mental health just goes downhill. So guys, I decided to train my daughter medicine. I was afraid that I was gonna go to the mental hospital. Look at this. Look at this duck. It's good that the ducks are not attacking me. They're just eating there. After knowing that, I think I read it somewhere. There's this doctor who said that he's got a patient, a university student, who had a mental breakdown. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He found out later on that in her family has a history, or some of her families got the same diagnosis. You know what? The only reason why she suffered was that she didn't have a good sleep for 3 days. And this is what I'm telling you about. All she needed was a good night's sleep. It's not like, you know, it's not a big deal from a doctor's point of view. You will know these things when you have knowledge, and that's why they say knowledge is power. You know what I mean? So if we know more, that means we can pass this knowledge to other people and we can save lives. When you're not knowledgeable about these things, you'd think that when somebody says, oh, I've got schizophrenia, it's like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. But no, there are mild schizophrenia. It's like, it's only some people have only an episode of schizophrenia, and some is like full blown, the one that we see in the movies. They do like the exaggeration of everything. But there are some schizophrenia that are very manageable. It's like PTSD. When you think about PTSD, oh my god, you're crazy. Well, you're not very knowledgeable about these things, so you can't say that. I've got PTSD and I'm a fully functioning mother. I'm a fully functioning adult. But it's because of the traumatic past I had when I was in the university. Then I was diagnosed with that. We can save lives, yes. If we pass on the knowledge. This is why I'm sharing with you my story, so that, you know, you don't need to get scared with the subject. Know the importance of good mental health, guys. Yes? I will also tell you a story about this mother from Canada. I just read it somewhere. Trigger warning because it talks about sensitive topics like self-harm and death. So this mom lived in a very secluded area, and their house was beside this lake. She just had a newborn, and unfortunately she's got postpartum depression because there was one day she was found there in the lake with her newborn and kids. Her husband found out from reading her diary later that she had trouble with breastfeeding and it's too painful for her. She didn't want to be a disappointment. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason. There's probably a mental disease. The thing is, postpartum depression is treatable, and if you're knowledgeable, you will know that mothers suffer either baby blues or postpartum depression, and you will know which one is which if you research or you go to a psychologist. My bottom line here is that it can be prevented. I know it sounds minor or just a minor problem to some of you, but with breastfeeding, it's not the same experience for everybody. Like some moms can withstand the pain and some cannot. And some environments are more harsh than the others. What I mean to say is that maybe you live in a village or a group of people where it is a must to breastfeed no matter how painful it is, or else you get casted or you get tagged like you're not a good mother, because that's what mothers do. You know, you have to withstand the pain. And I think it's very unfair. In dentistry, when you say low pain threshold, is that you have low tolerance with pain. And so this is why we need to be understanding, and we need to look at the background, you know, the situations of other people. That means that some people are more sensitive than others. If there's a friend who advised her, look, you're having trouble, I think you should see a professional, a therapist who knows these things. Maybe you're depressed because it's either it's a disease you got from your family or it's just a nutritional deficiency. Like my mom had a vitamin B6 or B12 deficiency, and her symptom was it's like she's depressed, but she's not depressed. You know, the common depressed. Also, I think some of us are making people who doesn't ask help like a hero. Those who doesn't need help, well, actually you're just repressing what you feel, isn't it? Repressing what you feel doesn't mean you're strong. That means you're not taking care of yourself because you're not acknowledging that there's pain. You feel something. There's a reason why you feel something. That means you have to deal with it and you have to face it. And you need to ask professionals for help sometimes. We feel things differently. And this is why mental health and emotional health, we have to broaden our knowledge about it so that people won't get outcasted for being, emotionally vulnerable. Just to be understood and not to be judged. That's all. We are unique individuals. It's okay if you are strong. It's okay if you are not as strong as what society are expecting you to be. It's okay. When you tell a kid, don't cry like a girl. Only girls cry. And this is not a very healthy thing to tell a kid, by the way. Based on lots of research about how to raise a healthy kid mentally and emotionally. Because we don't need to repress what the kids are feeling. It's okay to express your feeling. Because if you tell the kid, don't cry, I think that's what you tell an adult, like in a camp. When they're training to go to war. Of course, it is very, very good to brainwash people like this to go to war. You repress the pain because it's not healthy for you to be in the war and you're crying, isn't it? But you don't tell that to a 4-year-old kid or a 3-year-old kid. Of course, kids will cry because it hurts. And when you tell them growing up that you don't cry like a girl, or you don't cry, you repress your feelings, that's not gonna be healthy. But this is why I listen to educated people like Gabor Mate, because he's into child development, to trauma and addiction, and a lot of this suppression. Nobody has to lose kids, nobody has to lose wives, just because of these things that we are afraid to talk about. I don't want to be the one telling you this, that we get negative patterns from our parents, from our carers, or from our older relatives, or who are not actually very knowledgeable about these things. I mean, you watching me, you might be the only one in your family who are now aware of these things, who can openly talk about these things, and you can share this to your kids. People you surround yourself with, you might be the only one who can change their minds and who can make them open their minds to good mental health and good emotional health. And sometimes we just need help from other people, from knowledgeable people. Awareness is very, very important, because it's not only your community that you're helping and those around you. It can also be the reason, or you're the missing link. These things will be passed on. It's not only one or two people you'll be able to help, but those people, they will also pass it on to whoever it is that they're surrounded with. You can tell somebody that we all have different pain tolerance, and lots of people are going to criticize you for whatever it is that you do. And I mean, guys, we are not here on earth to please other people. We are here on earth, we have all our journey, and our job is to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people around us. There are lots of reasons why a person is depressed. Sometimes it's just nutritional deficiency. Like me, I had a severe iron deficiency, and I became a different person when I had symptoms like I had depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. If you have this awareness, like what I'm telling you now, you can pass it on. You know what I mean? What I've learned in my life, I'm passing it on to you. My channel is not about making money. It's not about being popular. It's about, I just want people to be aware of things that we take for granted. Good mental and emotional health, which is not taught in school, taught to our kids. And I talk about lots of these things in my channel because I want, when my kids are older, I want them to check what I've been trying to say all along about the importance of these things. This is what I'm telling you about awareness. I'll give you an example. My husband is a deputy principal, and sometimes he had to deal with death. For example, a death of one of his students. He had to deal with the mom who was a single mom and dealing with grief and had issues with everything. So after he dealt with it, he was advised by his superior to go to counseling, because when you deal with death, sometimes it can be hard, guys. And so if this is the case for education now, then that means that people are giving importance, especially in schools, about the mental health of the teachers. I shared one time also that my therapy was for free because of my husband's job. It's for free for him, so as his wife, it's also free for me. I get to be part of that free health. And I don't know if I can afford it actually if it's not for free, because it's like $240, $260 per session with therapy. You know, you can do counseling, spiritual counseling from the priest or something like that, someone to talk to, someone knowledgeable about these things. Sometimes even talking to a stranger helps, guys, just to take the pressure off your heart. One example is that in police force in some countries, whenever they got back from a war or got back from, for example, in the police force, if there was an encounter, like a fatal encounter, they're supposed to talk to a therapist before they go back to being a cop or being a policeman. Because sometimes when you have post-traumatic stress disorder, you cannot do your job properly, because when you're being stressed, you either freeze, flight, fight, or fawn, which means that you are not going to do your job good. So they have to have a clearance from a therapist before they can continue with their job. So it means that it is just not for the rich, famous, and the mentally challenged people anymore. But this is good, because now that you know, now we can normalize, and we know the importance of mental and emotional health, then we can pass it on to our kids, our neighbors, to our family member, and save lives. Now the dogs are going to sleep. I think I'm ready to go and head my way. Bye, dogs. Thank you for being with me today. The geese are there. So I guess this is the importance of this vlog, just for awareness, you know. Thank you very much for being with me today. Light and love. Thank you for hanging with me with my chit chat. That's a very, very noisy bird. The kookaburra will say goodbye. Pain threshold means